Tonight, we get really close to the sun. We talk about the new consoles, Final Fantasy and Baldur's Gate rustle our jimmies, and we don't fuck with cats, plastic bags are bad, and Epstein didn't kill himself.
This is Russ. I'm listening to Wolf Mother bark at the total eclipse of my heart.
This is Andrew, the wettest of the moist boys.
And this is Nick. Reciprocity is a very fun word to say.
And I'm Andy. Welcome to the Balcony Time Podcast.
So today, the 5th of January, means we're closest to the goddamn death orb.
Yep.
Being the perihelion,
Yeah.
Earth's closest day to the sun. And it was actually weirdly warm out today.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go outside unless it was early morning or night. So I don't know.
Could have purely been coincidence. We do have some
It
warm
got
days,
up into like the 50s, I think.
Wow.
It feels like the 70s because we're so used to it being cold. It's like,
And all the
it's really
cocaine.
nice out.
It was sort of
Coke,
everything
too.
today. There was a little bit of rain, too. A little bit of angel spit.
It actually, it seemed like it partially
like a misty-
snowed.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, well, it was literally like the tiny floater biz.
It's been a pretty warm winter.
Sprinkle.
It was funny because I woke up this morning and had the thought as I was like walking out to my car about how we haven't had our winter yet, really. Like it could still theoretically snow, but it's been fairly tame. We had like a week and a half of rain.
Yeah.
And then came back inside, and Sharon made the same comment. She's like, "Where's my winter at?" And then, like, as we're driving to breakfast and stuff, it had like the semi-weird. It's like sunny but trying to snow.
Yeah. I was in a meeting during that time, and I left my sunroof open on my car.
No.
That was awesome.
Why would you even open that?
Because it was cold, and I had the heat going, and that sunroof is perfect for vaping. Because like if it follows my defrosters, and like it just carries the vape out.
Sure,
Yeah.
I guess.
Your regular. Do your regular windows not work?
They work just fine.
Not as efficiently
Yeah.
as the vape hole.
Yeah, it literally becomes a vape chimney.
Vape chimney.
You know, you could just get a tube. And you just blow it
so-
out the tube.
Funny enough, I do have a tube.
Oh.
It's connected to his giant vape.
I actually use it in my room now.
Just go straight outside.
I climp it into the window.
You just say climp?
Climp.
Yep.
Yep.
Climping it in.
Climp it.
We're all letters screwing
Crimping
over
and
today.
clamping all at the same
Yeah,
time.
I climp it into my window because I've been setting off the smoke alarm with my vape recently.
That's
Really?
not good.
I have
you know,
never heard it.
Just take the
which
batteries
is weird
out,
because
dude.
it'll be at like 2:00 in the morning, and I'll be like, "Fuck! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!"
About the only time I'm probably deep in his sleep.
Yeah.
Is if I've
What
gone
is
to
it
bed.
about vape that makes a fire alarm think that you're going to die?
A lack of oxygen. I don't know.
It seems mildly unsettling.
A little bit, yeah.
A machine designed to save your life is telling you you're in danger, and you're like, shut up.
It's only happened twice now, but just
Okay.
use the tube.
Just use the tube.
Just use the tube.
Use the tube.
The issue with the tube is that it starts to get real moist.
Ew.
I'll have a drippy tube, so I got to be careful.
You got to get some drainage. Keep it at an angle.
Well,
Properly.
Okay.
In addition to Perihelion Day, we will having Wolf Moon eclipse coming up too, which
Cool.
is, I believe,
a 3-wolf moon eclipse.
moon in front of sun. I believe
I think that's when the moon grows hair.
that's true. It starts
Ooh.
howling at itself.
Yeah. It just screams internally.
Bark at the moon.
So you know what's got me really excited?
Wolf Moon.
That a demo recently got leaked for FF7 remake.
Oh.
Did you guys see that?
No.
Oh God, it gave me just I was pretty excited for the game already, especially after having seen more recent stuff.
Mhm.
Now I'm crazy excited about
Did you
this
say
game.
FF?
Final Fantasy
Okay,
VII.
I thought
Yeah.
I want to make sure I heard you
Yeah,
right. It was
the-
either FS or FF that I heard.
The Final Fantasy VII remake coming to the PS4
Oh,
in
okay.
March.
It's only been 20 plus years now.
It's been almost 21 years. Yeah.
Did I just read that the latest iteration of the PlayStation is going to be fully backwards compatible?
I had that on my
Yeah.
list. You
Oh.
jerk. You.
I told you I'd
You-
put my name
you
on it.
thief.
I brought these two.
You
I
list
brought these
tour?
ones too.
Yeah.
told
So yeah, that's the rumor.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Cool. So the rumor was that there is a demo. Or
No,
did
there-
the
so-
demo-
no,
we
no.
crossed streams.
We cross streams. The demo got leaked.
Okay. Have you played it?
Did you play it?
No, I don't have. Well, I don't have a PS4. It got leaked, so I don't have access to it. Only the people that got their hands on the leak did.
Maybe
Well,
it
leak
leaked
could
on
also
you.
mean like it's on Pirate Bay or something, you know.
Sure, but it's not. I don't know how they got it. They didn't publish that. But there is like an hour-long video of gameplay now.
They emptied their
Which-
tube.
The hour-long gameplay. So the demo is only going to be the first reactor. So
Yeah,
the
it's-
first,
The game's
like,
set up for a great demo. You go
Yeah.
to the Scorpion boss, and like that's enough. That gives you like it's about an hour.
But
Totally.
I don't understand what you could have seen from this demo that wasn't accurately displayed in the last footage that they released.
well, it was just more gameplay.
okay.
Just getting more gameplay
You
and,
gotta see the
and
nitty gritty.
It's just more hype.
seeing the more polished version and seeing like a full playthrough instead of like select clips, right?
Sure.
So it was essentially what we've seen so far, but in long form, and showing that they can keep the pacing good, because there's worries, right? It's coming out in 3 different segments. It's a little bit worrisome that something that would only normally take you like maybe 10 hours to complete would be an entire third of the Final Fantasy remake.
The first Final Fantasy is only 10 hours long.
Well, the what they're going to be publishing as the first release, because it's going to be staged into 3 parts, is only going to be the beginning of the game where you're in Midgar, which if you're playing the game for the first time, even it probably only takes you like the original game.
Sure, sure.
I could see
Probably
15 hours.
Sure, maybe
Yeah,
15
10 to
hours.
15 hours,
Right, but we're
maybe.
talking about a 100-hour game.
Yeah.
So trying to grok like how are they going to get enough content out of this area was a little bit funky. It seems like they're adding quite a bit of content to the game, and while they've said that already, it's hard to believe it. You know what I mean? I'll believe it when I see it, kind of deal. But we're starting to see it.
Yeah, especially back then, a lot of the time in that game is going to be grinding.
Yeah.
And they could get rid of that.
And I think they are, because
So-
they're getting rid of they're redoing the materia system, combat, the armor and weapon systems. So they're new.
Yeah. Grinding is a flavor now that you kind of have to do well for people to enjoy.
Yeah.
Like it either has to be the point of the game,
Mhm.
like Rust or survival games,
Sure.
or it needs to not be there.
Yeah.
So,
Which it seems like it's gonna kind of not be there.
yeah.
Seems like you'll let it level up pretty
Just
linearly through
good.
the
The
game.
game doesn't need artificial inflation.
It doesn't.
It's
Well,
plenty long enough with enough content.
and it's live combat, so they just had to change their systems kind of from the ground up.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's going to work out really well. Is the
So-
crux of it?
Is the original like only has about 10 to 15 hours of content, but takes longer because of all the grinding? Is what you're saying?
Well, you can grind in that early area, but it's not really necessary until later game.
I think he's just saying
No.
that in the first version of the game, you get through Midgar in about 10 hours.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
the
thought you said
first-
the whole game of Final
No.
Fantasy. was
No,
like
the whole game
10.
is like
60 to 100 hours.
yeah, you could
probably on
and
average.
on a first playthrough you could definitely do 100 hours.
Pretty easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially with all the side stuff.
Mhm.
And some of the side stuff like feels so much like main stuff that it adds to the time, all the chocobo stuff.
Yeah.
I was very confused. I thought you were saying that like I'd never played Final Fantasy 7,
Mhm.
and then to hear you say that like the game was plenty long enough, and I'm sitting here thinking it was 10 to 15 hours. I'm like, that is not long.
No,
enough.
He was
And
the
that's what I was
equivalent
worried
of the
about.
first town in any RPG is Midgar in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And it's
Roach will be
about-
the entire first release of this new
Yeah.
one.
The new game is split into 3 parts, and you're
Yep.
saying that the first part of this 3-part series is just Midgar,
Just Midgar.
which makes me think that they might cut some of the stuff out.
No, I think they're going to be adding additional. Oh, you mean like through the
Like, I
entirety
think
of the
they're
game?
probably going to cut parts of the game out.
I think so
'cause
too.
It could use it. I mean, it's the argument like Lord of the Rings extended cut or not.
Yeah.
You know, like there's arguments for and against. Like I think I prefer the regular cut of Lord of the Rings. So sue me, right?
Sure.
What's the
But-
speed run time of Final Fantasy 7?
Speedrun times vary, but so it depends on what your goal as far as speedrun is. If the goal is just to finish,
Any complete.
yeah,
Yeah. 100%.
then there are guys that do it in under 30 hours, but that's
That's still a long
Yeah.
time.
You could
well-
probably do a lot faster than that. But speedruns are kind of hard to like. Here's the thing. I just watched a speedrun of Outer Worlds, 12 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like a 30, 40-hour game normally.
Right.
So it depends on if you're doing an any percent speed run, it's how many glitches and exploits you can find.
you have,
Well, let's do
yeah.
just
Yeah.
no no glitches or exploits then.
So no glitches or exploits, I'd say, would probably be in the 30-hour mark, just because you do have to level your characters up and up. Because there's no level scale. I mean, there's a little bit of level scaling for the very end game content, but there's no real level scaling up until then. So you still have to be of an appropriate power level in order to complete the game. There's some ways to cheese it without really being super exploity. But you have to remember there are sequences in the game where there's so much narrative and discussion between the characters that you could spend an hour hitting your X button.
Skip
Yeah.
Seed dialogue.
Yeah.
It looks like it's about 7 hours.
7 hours? That's surprising.
With no exploits.
Over the various categories, I don't know if exploits are included. On YouTube, there's a 2-hour one. There's a 100% run for 15 hours.
Yeah.
but
Wow.
That,
That had
I
to
imagine that probably has exploits in it.
Yeah, that kind of has to.
But it looks like How 3 People Crushed Final Fantasy in Less Than 8 Hours was an article 2 years ago. So I think the 7 hours to 8 hours is about the current record. Which for a speed run, that's pretty fucking slow.
Yeah, that indicates that there's a lot of content in that game, which
There
is
is.
good. That's good.
Yeah. It's a meaty game.
Meaty.
Like,
It's one of those games where like every time you thought it's not. Some games you play and you're like, I feel like I'm getting to the end, and then it's not the end. This game, like you start feeling like you're getting to the middle of the game, and you're not at the middle yet.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
Like think of the entire portion with Yuffie. Like her storyline.
It's like combining a trilogy of books into
Yeah.
one book. You get through a third of it, and you're like, "Wow, that was crazy." And you're like, "I'm not even halfway through the game yet."
There
and
is-
it just keeps going.
Yeah, and there is an optional character that you can get that you can spend, like, once you get her, you now opened up a side quest of the game that can last you like 5-6 hours, no problem.
Plus, there's the Vincent optional character as well, and he's his own thing. You have to go out of your way to get him.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
All the
it's
way over to Vincentville.
Vincent,
Nibelheim.
the edge lord of Final Fantasy VII.
Oh yeah.
The goth boy.
I don't know if he's as edgy as Cloud gets.
He literally has claws
yes.
on his golden gauntlets.
Yes, true.
But as Andy found out miraculously, the PlayStation 5 is supposed to.
It wasn't
remember-
miraculous. I brought the topics.
Mine. Nowhere's your name on here. But yeah, they're saying the PlayStation 5 is supposed to be potentially backwards compatible to the first PlayStation.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering who still has all their games.
PlayStation owners.
I guess,
don't know.
yeah, collectors,
Yeah.
right? Like that's about it.
He'd
these
still
days.
have his if we didn't trade him on for beer pong.
Yeah. I traded in my PS2 and like 30 games for beer pong
two
money.
24 packs.
Every
of
time
Pabst.
I've traded
Yeah.
in my games,
That's a wonderful
I regretted it. I traded
I don't
in
regret it.
all of my
we had some
64
fun times.
games for a stack of Pokemon cards. That I don't know where those went.
I don't even have a TV that I own that I could have plugged in an original PS1 into. So, you know,
I can get one at the pawn shop though.
sure.
I still have my original PlayStation and my PS2. I might have some games in that tub, but I don't know. The thing that always kind of bothered me is, on one hand, I know that emulation's really hard.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't until like recently that we got like really good, what was it, GameCube emulators and whatnot. And that's like multiple generations ago. But on the other hand, like, why is it so hard?
I don't understand that either.
Just because those are custom built architectures, and you have to figure, like, you essentially have to deconstruct the chipset that's on.
Well, do you have to deconstruct it if you're Sony? That's like my thinking. I could be wrong on
Yeah.
this, but like, let's say I'm Sony. I've got the entirety of the PlayStation operating system and whatnot to run those games.
Yeah.
Can't be that big.
So
why can't it just sit on the PS4? Like when the
Right.
PS4 came out, it's like we're devoting a little bit of space to like essentially emulating an entire PlayStation because we have the original code for it.
it's not just space. So like with a PS3, they did hardware emulation. They had a PS2 inside the launch PS3. That's what made it backwards
Oh,
compatible.
okay.
The PS3 was not powerful enough to emulate PS2 games.
How does that make any sense though? It can run PS3 games.
But so it's an issue of architecture though.
Yeah,
It's
efficiency.
it's not even efficiency. It's literally written for a processor that was custom made. That's not using an x86 or x64.
Okay, so now I'm a little
format.
lost. They
So it
put
would
a
be
physical PS2 in a PS3.
That's what
Yet
they-
the
yes.
PS3 can't run PS2 stuff.
No, the PS3 can run PS2 stuff when it's hardware emulated. Just emulating
Oh,
from
you're just saying
software
when
is
it's
really
just
difficult.
software.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really difficult when it's just software.
Which is an efficiency thing because it can't just run the PlayStation 2 hardware.
Sure.
So that it has to fake it, which means you're losing out on processing power because you then have to emulate a non-existent hardware format.
Or you have to recode the game to work on the new architecture.
Gotcha.
So doing software emulation is really difficult. Where you started to see it really happen was with the PS4, because the PS4 looks at PS2 emulation like it's no problem.
Yeah.
Because that's all software side. That there's no hardware emulation. The only way to get PS2 games on the PS4 wasn't through the disc; it was through their store.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's all digital.
Yeah. So you'd have to buy the digital versions again in order to play them emulated on the PS4. So it's not surprising the PS5 is doing that, because the PS4 is just using a regular AMD chip.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're going to be using for PS5 too. So
modern.
I don't know.
right.
Yeah, it just seems like to sell a console or have a selling point of a console be its backwards compatibility is a little late.
It's an extra.
No,
thing.
It's an extra.
Okay.
And especially like a low cost one too.
Sure.
But a money making one, right? Because now you have to buy all of your games on the PlayStation.
Yeah,
Network.
now they can sell you those old games you enjoyed on
Yeah.
the PlayStation.
Well, that's what I was
Store.
going to say was you on Nintendo, like on the Switch, can't you just basically play all your old Nintendo games?
You have to buy them.
Yeah,
You have to
them.
buy them or whatever.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's the same thing there. It's just a digital means of
Yeah,
giving
but
that
the-
away.
yeah.
You don't. I mean, the hardware is going to be able to do that anyway.
Yeah.
Right. That's what,
We're at a point now to where the hardware can just do that.
Yeah.
There was a period in time where new consoles were struggling to emulate the previous generation's consoles.
But when I read it in that news feed, it was like a headline type thing, and I was like, "This isn't really
That's
like that
mostly
big of a deal."
because it's just any news coming out on the new consoles.
Fair
and
enough.
That's,
It's just
that's the
one
big
more
deal.
little
24-hour
leak.
news.
The other thing is now you're carrying over your PlayStation Network ID with all of your game purchases.
Sure.
You should be able to still play all the games that you purchased on previous consoles on
Sure.
the PS5.
I think most people, I mean, the average non-gamer is not going to know that the PS4 to the PS5 would be backwards compatible with the PS4.
Yeah.
We all would assume that the next generation of Xbox or PlayStation is going to run the shit that I just got on the last one.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of been the status quo now, is that yes, your Game Pass, your Microsoft account or your Sony account just rolls over to the new hardware.
Yeah.
Any news is news when it comes to the new consoles. I mean,
One thing that is surprising is that when you do go to play some of those older games, PS1, PS2 games, they were visually not designed for modern TVs.
Yeah,
And sometimes
scaling.
you literally cannot. It's so fuzzy. You
Yeah.
can't read the text in the games because it's not designed for those old CRT monitors. And it took some fiddling one time. I don't remember. What was I? I think it was a computer emulator, and I was trying to play it on my monitor. I was like, what is going on?
I need this to be in 4:3 and
Yeah.
better.
I think aspect ratios would be more of an issue because like you're not going to have any trouble with the resolution. Because I think about when I tried to play, I think it was like the first Dead Rising on a CRT monitor.
Yeah.
Couldn't be
I
done.
remember this.
I couldn't read any text on there.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a high enough resolution to even render the text of the game.
Yeah.
Which means, by the way, if you can't read text in Dead Rising, it becomes the lamest zombie game
Right.
Because you can't progress anything, so it's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I
the
don't know what to
generic
do.
mall with generic
Run over
zombies.
zombies.
I remember that being a problem with that game.
Yeah. I have GTA 6 written down, but there's really nothing there.
Oh, was there
They're
an
making
announcement?
a GTA 6.
Of
Of course. Yeah.
Well,
But
I
we're
just, I just
still-
figured they keep just tacking shit onto GTA 5 at this point.
Well, yeah, up
They do
until
for a
there's a
while.
new console generation.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not looking, it's like another 18 months out.
Oh, yeah,
So-
for sure. Probably 18 months out until we get news. Rockstar is famous for pushing their games back like
Sure.
a year or
Yeah,
more,
It's already been 6 years since GTA 5.
which is bananas.
Yeah, it is.
Doesn't
Yeah.
seem like it.
No.
Yeah, and this puts it out till almost 8 years.
Yeah. Which,
Oh, well.
yeah, who cares? GTA 5 is still fun enough. People are still playing it.
I mean, I always look forward to the next GTA.
Yeah.
I have a blast playing the GTA games.
For sure. It's just never on my radar until it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just one of those games that I know is inevitable, and I look forward to its release.
Yeah. And then we had the weird thing with GTA 5 because it came out right as the new generation of Xboxes
Yeah.
were coming out. So it's like you could get the Xbox 360 version or the Xbox One version.
Yep. It's kind of the same thing with Titanfall. That was a fun launch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What, dude? Watching it played on the 360 versus the One versus the PC was interesting. 3 different,
Kinda night and day.
very drastic quality of graphics.
I think that I was trying to remember what games I'd bought for the 360 that I regretted not waiting to the Xbox One.
Mine was GTA 5. I bought GTA 5 for the 360.
I think mine was Titanfall and then Skyrim.
Oh yeah.
Skyrim was it's like it was bad on the Xbox One. It was worse on the 360.
Yeah.
Those load
Those
times.
load times, man.
Those fucking load times.
I already had an SSD in my machine when I first played Skyrim, so I didn't understand what everybody was bitching about until I started watching Colin play it on the 360. Wow, fucking atrocious.
Every fucking door.
Playing Skyrim on the console after playing on the PC.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you subject yourself to this?
For sure.
It's just all around harder to play.
Yeah, trying to hit people with spells on the console is like
the aiming,
throwing wet rags at people.
bad
Yeah.
inventory system.
Doing like I've seen you play Apex on the Xbox. I don't know how you go through the inventory system as fast as you do.
Muscle memory.
Yeah,
probably.
I mean,
Dude.
I've
Doing
put
it so
a lot
many
of hours into
times.
it. And even that, I'm slower than the people I watch
Sure.
by far.
Man, it's I couldn't. I don't like. I'm sure I could get used to it. I refuse. I guess.
I think a lot of it does come down to like having the memory of what it is that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Or at least try to, because there's many times I'll pass over something. And then when you're going into a box, like mid-late game, you're only after some attachments you might not have picked up,
Sure.
and then it's ammo and health. So shields, med kits, and ammo.
Yeah.
It's the only thing you're grabbing out of those late game boxes. But yeah, even that I appreciate it. Thank you. I like that.
Yeah, man. I was watching you for a good 5 hours the other night.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Get some good games.
yeah, you did. 3 dubs.
Yeah.
3 dubs in a
Nice.
night. That's not bad at all.
That is a good one
That's
for sure.
that's a good dude. I think that probably ties with my record for Apex. I don't think I've ever gotten any more than 3 wins in a night.
It also depends on how. I mean, if I streamed like all Saturday, it's possible I might get more than 3.
Sure.
Then you get the tryhards too, though.
Oh, for sure.
It's always about what time you play and how well we do.
There are some sweaty motherfuckers playing Apex. Yeah. It's for how good of a game it is. I mean, it obviously has its faults, but for how good of a game it is, it really lost momentum quick as far as player base.
Yeah, is it still pretty low?
Yeah, it's still. I mean, like it's still. You can still find it in the top 15 games played on Twitch.
Okay.
So it's not. It's not like it's a dead game, but
I thought that and Overwatch were like the 2 big shooters right now.
no,
it's
it's
flop.
shooters. It's always CS:GO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, CS:GO is because all of your biggest players play it.
And Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, yeah. I mean, Overwatch. It depends on who's playing. That can be the number 1 shooter, but it's less and less frequently. A lot of people are just anti-Blizzard at the moment. So
Fair
There's
enough.
also that.
yeah. So it's. I mean, and like if your main game is Overwatch, you're gonna get judged by your chat. For playing a Blizzard title. Becomes kind of a toxic atmosphere, really.
Yeah.
Speaking of toxic atmosphere, I went to the toxic planet in Astroneer with Adam recently.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, sorry.
I don't appreciate that kind of language.
Yes, I didn't either when I arrived and we got off the ship and it just exploded and we both died and we had no idea what happened and we spawned back in. Thankfully on the rocket that had just landed.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a giant like irradiated plant spitting exploding seeds at us. But yeah, that was fun trying to get out of that situation because then you have to carry the rocket out of the fucking way before we could deal with this plant. But for some reason that plant in particular lags slightly. And it's like the planet, it just doesn't want us to be there. So
It's toxic.
Like we have to be here for this, like this one thing we need. Once we get it, we can get the fuck out of here. But it's just a pain in the ass.
Toxic atmosphere, toxic attitude.
Toxic software.
Yeah.
Hey, that segues into Star Wars nicely.
Oh, does it?
Toxic environments. No, so I was just reading because one of those Google alerts popped up talking to me about J.J. Abrams not wanting to work with Disney anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But the big thing I think I learned from reading that article is talking about how they cut they had 3 less months to work on the film than he did his first one.
Mm-hmm.
And as it was pointed out, like that's a substantial amount of time.
That's a lot of time for movie making.
Yeah, for movie making.
I mean,
Like,
just
they
think
could've-
about how much you can get done in 3 months by yourself.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Well, personally, nothing.
sure how much you could get done in 3 months.
Sure.
You know,
The movie's made in the editing room, and if you got an extra 3 months to fiddle with it,
yeah.
you could ungarbage a pile of garbage at least into something.
Could have
Decent.
an entirely different movie on our hands.
Yeah. Because I imagine as far as like principal photography, they had their assets, right? It's Star Wars. Those have just existed forever.
Either someone mentioned it or I read somewhere where it's usually the 4 months. It's usually 4 months of shooting on most movies,
Yeah.
and then everything else is after that.
Right.
You might have to go back and redo some shots, but
Sure. Yeah.
I could be wrong. Nobody quote me on that.
That sounds right. I'm sure I've heard something like that. Yeah. Because principal, unless it's something like a war movie, which I imagine takes longer to shoot, something like Star Wars, they're all sets. Everything is a set. I mean, when they're in the Millennium Falcon, those sets have been built now for at least 3 movies, probably longer. They're probably reusing a lot of assets.
They just film it in the Disneyland Star Wars
Right.
space.
Yeah.
Honestly, there are probably like hundreds of real replicas out there that they could use. It's it's kind of a non-issue for Star Wars because it's such an old property.
The 501st in the last 2 episodes of Mandalorian,
Which I thought was funny. But
Yes,
go
me
ahead,
too.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I thought that was cool that the 501st were able to show up.
The articles talked about how they didn't have enough stormtrooper outfits, so they called in help from the 501st. And I'm like, Disney doesn't have
Is it
enough
really-
Right, yeah.
stormtrooper
That's funny.
outfits.
I didn't read that.
That was probably a PR thing.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think it's pretty cool. They bring in the 501st.
Definitely.
Yeah, be an extra in a Star Wars movie with
Fuck
your
yeah.
badass
Sure.
Star Wars cosplay.
Talking about a
Done and
hardcore
done.
fan base.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
the audience, the 501st are real life people who dress up in hyper realistic stormtrooper outfits of various varieties.
Yeah.
And have a whole thing about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can just classify it as Imperial. They just because any of them could be Imperials. Because
Yeah.
you got the
Oh, you see, I've seen like the
officers and-
guards and
Mhm.
Imperial guards and whatnot. But
I don't think that 501st typically includes stuff like the Mandalorians because they've got people doing a lot of like Boba Fett cosplay.
yeah, I
and
think
stuff
it's
like
just
that, but
as far I've only
I
ever
always
seen,
thought the 501st was just like stormtroopers.
I've seen a lot of stormtrooper varieties like the desert troopers, the scout troopers, and whatnot.
Yeah, we
but-
saw those like
and I
in
think
real
I
life.
saw an Imperial guard,
Mhm.
the red one.
Yep.
But I
That
don't-
was a part of the 501st.
Yeah, I think that was local here when they showed up to the movie theater.
Yeah.
if I
That was for
remember right.
episode 3, I think.
I'm jujuling it. Give me a second.
Jujul.
Yeah, I had a feeling the 501st was more specific to like a particular group of cosplayers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they just do Imperial outfits,
Mhm.
like Russ is saying.
I think that's right.
I actually think I may be incorrect.
I think it's just the stormtroopers.
I have been sucked into a game called Monster Sanctuary. I had seen the Kickstarter a while back. I didn't back it, but it's essentially Pokemon and Metroid had
You
a
have
baby.
to save the monsters.
You kind of collect them like Pokemon,
Nice.
and then fight with them.
So explain to me how it's Metroid.
Because it's a Metroidvania, the map
Okay.
is like Metroid. It's like if you were playing Metroid, Super Metroid, right, for Super Nintendo,
Mhm.
except combat is you play Pokemon. You have up to 3 on the field at a time. What's kind of neat is your attacks usually have like multiple hits times a percentage of your base damage. And on your turn, all of your Pokemon go, and then theirs go. And you have a combo meter, which every hit you get adds like a percentage damage to the next one. So you can have like a weak Pokemon that his like attack types fire don't match the enemies, just waste his attack to build up the meter, and then have your guy who does have a super effective attack slam him hard with a big one. And
I love being slammed,
slammed hard with the
Slammed
big
Slam
one.
hard with the big one.
Yeah, I said that. And yeah, but it's pretty fun. I got lost some time to it the last couple of nights.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't played anything. It's been a sad playless couple weeks for me.
Yeah. Too
I
busy
did
buying.
boot up CS:GO today.
How's it been going? I haven't heard about it yet.
You Cisco girl now?
That's right. I'm a
Cisco
Cisco girl. Save the
He's
whales.
making the noise.
It's about the turtles, man. Save the
Oh,
turtles.
Yeah.
Well, nobody cares about whales.
Is that a fucking straw?
It is a fucking
Skisk,
straw.
skisk, 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 skisk.
And I had to ask for it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's trickled down now.
Fuck, dude. Sorry to interrupt. I'm
no, no.
gonna interrupt CS:GO.
Cisco.
The fucking. It's been 5 days without plastic bags in Oregon. People have you
they're
guys
losing
had?
their mind.
People are
It's-
losing their shit.
It's
Well,
not even
did-
just like it's not
Did you
even
know
all
that's
of
why
Oregon.
Australia's on fire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
Australia
Right.
ran out of plastic bags. and
No,
now they're on
everybody's just
fire.
so angry Australia combusted.
That's exactly what happened. People are losing. So
I know,
for anybody
it's
that doesn't
crazy.
know, most of Oregon has banned plastic bags, at least in shopping centers and grocery stores.
You have to pay for them. They're still available.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah,
Okay.
it
When
goes,
I
how
paid
many do
for
you want to
bags
buy?
today at Fred Meyer? They gave me paper.
Yeah,
ones.
they give you paper.
Yeah, plastic bags are done.
Yeah, plastic
Oh,
bags.
well,
are-
okay,
You have to
yeah,
buy
and
the
then
paper
Yeah,
ones
yeah.
you still have to pay for.
Yeah.
But people are, they're 5 fucking cents, but people are losing their minds
Oh, man.
over it.
It's because people are dumb.
Yeah, my D&D players, they were bitching about it. It's like,
Mhm.
what?
What?
Just
Yeah.
either get your own bag
Bring it
for
back.
like $2 or pay the 5 cents.
They're the reusable bags at Fred Meyer are literally $1.
Yeah,
and
I
they're
think
well made. Yeah,
99 cents.
get the fuck out of here, dude. We're saving the environment a little bit here. It's worth 5 extra fucking cents every now and then.
You
Now-
know what's bad about this reaction is it's really a litmus test for how well people would take just switching over to the metric system. Right? Like you throw
Yeah.
measurement on top of it, and then
We
fuck,
got to wait
people
for
are
all the
dumb.
boomers to die.
Wasn't it
first.
in the 50s or 60s that we did officially switch to the metric system for a little while, and it
I
just
don't
got
think we ever
We've
have.
tried before.
Yeah,
in
we've
small
tried.
little areas, but you can't.
Well, I mean, if you're part of the scientific community, you have to work.
You have to kind of
in
know
Yeah.
metric
both
because,
of them. Yeah.
well, here, yeah, but everyone else just uses the metric.
It's
system.
interesting. In other countries, they'll actually use imperial for certain things.
Mhm.
Like you
Huh.
talk to, like especially like
Well, for
Canada, and
Colloquially,
yeah, like
talking about
if
distances.
you're measuring like weight or time or miles or heat or all these things, sometimes they'll use one and sometimes they'll use the other.
yeah.
yeah.
Which is interesting.
It is weird how different fields will use like different units of measurement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I was thrown off on the bag situation simply because I knew the bags were going. Because at one point I went into Fred Meyer's and they only had paper bags out.
Yeah.
But they were stacked up where the plastic bags were.
Right.
So next time I came through and there were no paper bags
Nothing.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on?
Mhm.
And so the little self-checkout chick, I feel sorry for her because I was messing around, but I was doing it in mock seriousness and my acting was too on point apparently.
Oh yeah.
Because I was asking her where the bags are at. She's like, all the bags have been banned. Which I was like, okay, yeah. She's like, all right, I'll just take the basket. She's like, well, the baskets can't leave the store. And I looked at her and I'm like, are you going to stop me? Are you going to tackle me? Are you going to stop me from taking this plastic
Russ.
basket out? And she just started getting like really kind of like upset and stuff.
Oh,
and
no.
Sharon jumped in. Thankfully, she was there. And started diffusing. She's like, he's just kidding. He's joking. Sorry. And then what really made it worse was that she started telling me about all the shit she's had to deal
Yeah.
with
Oh, no.
since it started with everyone getting upset with her. She's like, I just had like 5 minutes ago, some old guy was yelling at me about it. And I'm like, oh my God.
You were joking, but everybody
so
else was
sorry. Yeah,
serious.
yeah. Like, I was half serious. I would have taken that basket out to
Yeah.
my car.
Sure,
but
yeah.
I also would have brought it back. But
Yeah. You know, a question to ask, because I've heard this, I don't know how true it is, need to look into it, is how much plastic does it take to make those reusable bags?
You sure? I
A
mean,
turtle's worth.
measure it in turtles.
Measure it in
3.5
dead turtles.
probably a
Yeah.
good amount. I'd imagine it's at least like, you know,
Because plastic bags are thin.
yeah. I'm pretty sure a lot of them are recycling those plastic
Are
bags
you sure they're even
into
made out of
the
plastic?
what?
Are you sure the new ones are even made out of plastic?
Yeah.
Most of them are. Like this one he's got here, that's not cloth. That's some type of plastic.
Yeah.
Let me see this.
Yeah. What does that have a symbol on the bottom? Because the symbol will tell you what type of plastic it is.
Your mom's a symbol.
Oh,
Symbol of greatness.
Here we go.
Just stick your head in the bag, Russ.
And then inhale as hard as you can.
It is woven polypropylene.
Yeah. It's plastic. PPL.
yeah.
It does not contain lead, cadmium,
thank God.
or any other heavy metals in toxic amounts.
Yeah,
Cool.
In toxic amounts.
Just in less toxic
There's a
amounts.
little bit of Einsteinium in there.
Contains no post-consumer recycled material.
So nothing recycled. Okay. Interesting.
It is called Earthwise
Mm.
and has an earth with the little like arrows implying recycledness on here.
They're
So
implying
just-
that the Earth is round.
Good for them.
or maybe
Yes.
they're
I guess it depends which way the arrows are going, right?
I'm mostly just amused that it's called Earthwise and all this shit, but it's actually not made out of recycled material.
Nothing
Yeah, it's-
recycled.
yeah, it's
and it
made out of
contains a
new plastics.
little bit of lead.
Yeah, you know, hey.
Just a little bit.
That's
Cool.
just for getting through the radiation zones.
Yeah.
No, well, no, because it's got like heavy metals in it too.
Oh, well.
In non-toxic.
Non-toxic amounts.
According to the people that get to judge that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd just be interesting to see. I can't imagine that it's not worth it to switch those bags, but I imagine if I like stab in the dark, at least 6 months to a year of normal shopping trips to counteract normal plastic bags with one of those.
Yeah, sure.
Because, you think of a plastic bag, it's decent size, but like it's so actually thin, and you can't really crumple them up entirely because there's too much air in there. But yeah, I'd have to guess those probably are worth a couple hundred bags worth of
Probably.
plastic. So
They burn really easy.
most plastic does.
Cool.
It is oil after all.
Yep.
At the end of the day.
All of my clothes are polyester, so I'll just
You're
go up
wearing
and turn
oil.
plastic. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do not fall into a fire. Oh, we got some,
Oh,
some
good
chat
advice.
stats.
Average reusable bag has a lifespan equal to that of more than 700 disposable plastic bags. Okay.
Keep reading. I can't read it from here.
One person using reusable bags over their entire lifetime would remove more than 22,000 bags from the environment.
Six motherfuckers.
Turtles.
That is a lot of turtles.
It has a lifespan equal to that of more than... What is the lifespan of a plastic bag?
Till it wears
One.
out, I guess.
Like the one trip
Yeah.
home until it gets thrown in the trash?
Because nobody.
Oh,
ever,
like an actual plastic
Yeah.
bag. Yeah, probably
It's
they
just-
count it as one
it's
trip to the
interesting.
bag or
One-
to the store.
1/8 of a turtle. is
So
their
if you
life.
assume a normal plastic bag makes it one trip, then these reusable ones last 700
Yeah.
by that logic. I could be wrong on how much they're assuming a normal plastic bag lasts. That's good to know.
They call them disposable, so they're they're one use.
They're
I
single
guess.
use.
Yeah.
Okay. Then that's a weird way of putting it.
It is. I mean, I think that's
Clearly, we just need to make wooden bags, grow our bags on trees.
one of the things that you could start doing though, is using boxes. Like, people are
They do it at
it's not-
Costco.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand why. Like, bring a box, keep it in your trunk.
Yep.
No big deal.
Problem is, I don't have a car because then I have to carry boxes.
That's what
home.
backpacks are for.
Get a
Unfortunately.
Get a car.
I do use my
Contribute to the
backpack.
environment.
I got
Get a
my backpack.
car.
I got a couple of canvas shopping bags that I
Yeah.
use. When
I
go
don't
to the
remember the
store.
last time I actually had to bag something,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, you carry a backpack.
except for the rare time when I forget my backpack.
Yeah.
Or like tonight when I didn't have it, but I just got a paper bag. Anyways,
For 5 cents.
Anyways, yeah, people are losing their fucking minds. The people at work, like, our bags cost 5 cents, and they're enormous bags because I work in an electronics retailer. They're huge. They cost 5 cents, but people lose their fucking minds over it. It's like you're buying something
You're
that
buying
costs.
something that's $1,000.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what percentage are you bitching about? Come on, get over.
If
like,
the
get
nickel's
over it real
busting the
quick.
bank, if that bag's busting the bank, then you
Then
shouldn't be
reconsider your
dropping the
purchase.
grand.
it's
yeah.
the principle of the thing.
And that's what everybody fucking
That's what
says.
they
It's the
always say.
principle of the matter.
Then get on board with the fact that it's the principle of the
Yeah.
thing and the earth is dying.
Or just carry
right?
the fuck out. It's a big box.
I think what they mean by that is it didn't used to be that way, and I don't like change.
That
'cause
is
change
exactly-
scares me.
Oh,
That's exactly
so it's
what
not
it
the
is.
principle of the
But that's what
thing.
they mean. The
not.
principle is like it didn't
Yeah.
used to be this way, and now it is, and I don't like it.
It's only old people that bitch about this stuff.
And they're going to take it out on the customer service agent
yeah.
that has nothing to
It's
do.
clearly
and is
their fault.
not paid
Right.
enough to deal with their shit.
No.
I would have too much fun just fucking clapping back at these people. Fucking
I just
Right.
tell them like, no, we actually America ran out of plastic.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we're starting another war in Iran, is we have to go get more oil.
It'd be fun. You could just
Yeah.
every day
Yeah.
you just come up with no reasons to
No.
come
Dude,
to
you didn't
fucking
hear?
come back to these guys.
You didn't hear?
Yeah.
In order to save themselves, the turtles turned plastic into nutritious material.
They've been eating
They've
all
been
of
eating
our
it
bags.
all.
Bastard turtles, kill them all.
No, you're correct, sir. I decided that Oregon had had enough of plastic, so I made it illegal for everyone.
Yeah.
Have you been watching?
And
the
I'm
news?
making every nickel off of every sale.
Don't you know who I am,
I'm the new
motherfucker?
governor.
I'm Mr. Plastic.
You sure you want to be getting mad at me right now? You know how much power I have? I'm
just
I'm
here
the sausage
volunteering
king of
for
Chicago.
If you heard of the anti-plastic lobby, motherfucker.
Dave Plastic is making a killing. No, I don't like. Every time I go into the store, I make a food trip every day. There's always some old dude that's really crusty about it.
My boss bought me a really nice kitchen knife as like a ode to like, all right, you're learning to cook more
Cool.
for yourself at home. And I'm like, all right. I needed one too, because when I make that beef Wellington that you taught me how to make,
Yeah.
none of my knives are sharp enough. Like, so when
Oh, yeah.
he takes the loaf and stuff, he'll bisect the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I've tried
'Cause it
both
just
times. It smushes. Everything starts breaking and falling apart.
Need a
When
better
it's-
knife?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we have shitty knives.
Do you have a honing iron?
I don't, but he's
'Cause that'll help out
He's
a
gonna
shitty
show
knife.
me how to use one and stuff. So
Pretty easy to use. Just use them every time you pull it out of the drawer.
Yeah.
I won't even go in a drawer. This one will be up on a magnet.
Even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't put my knives in a drawer. My knives stay up on the counter.
I'm gonna attach.
And
a
they get
magnet
covered
up
every
there.
time.
I tried for years to keep our knives.
Oh, you live in a family.
I do. We literally had
your
like
first mistake.
14 kitchen knives.
I think we probably have one on
And
that.
Yeah.
I've got, and they're all bad. And
All-
the,
ours
are
the,
too.
the two that are okay are because when I'm done using them, I put them in my room.
Yeah.
Other people use them.
Yeah, I got those knives for 2 Christmases in a row. The like fucking super knives or whatever. The as seen on TV bullshit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some Farberware shit.
Yep. Oh god.
Most of the knives, I mean, you could honestly, if you had the effort, go down and get them reground at home,
Sure.
and they'd be fine, and it'd be cheaper than getting a nice new knife.
No, I spent. I think I spent $30 on my knife plus the honing iron that came with it.
I think it's a reasonable amount to spend on a
And-
knife that should last you most of your life.
It's fine. It came with a little serrated knife and a little paring knife, and
I don't.
just take care of it.
Yeah. The thing is with knives, you could spend $1 million on a knife. It's not going to last you your whole life. What's going to last your whole life is a knife that's not only taken care of in maintenance, but also reground at times.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
eventually, no matter the knife, because when
Gotta
you
sharpen
make
it.
steel, you kind of have two options. There isn't a best steel. There's soft but malleable steel and hard but brittle steel, and you can change the ratios depending on what type of steel it is. But yeah, there's no perfect steel for cutting knives.
Most of
them,
too
Except for
long for what I
Beskar.
would like to use, but it's
Beskar's
nice.
just Damascus steel. I mean, at the end of the day, they made Damascus steel, which is great. But yeah, normally like a knife like this, if I had to guess looking at it, the spine of it's going to be a hard, stiff, brittle steel. And then they're going to use like 1060 spring steel on the front of it, which is softer, more malleable, easy to be resharpened.
Right.
But it's more likely to have the edge curl over, which is why I use the honing blade to keep that from happening.
Play with it.
I mean, I think it's probably like 100, probably less than 200, more than 100, somewhere in that range for that knife.
Yeah, that's a Damascus pattern in there, that layered steel. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it does look really
It's
nice.
full tang, full metal. Nice.
Full metal tang.
Full metal tang. Show me your tang.
Well, if you insist.
I do. Are you guys ready to take a break?
Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
Sure.
Let's go take a break.
I could smoke.
All right. We'll be right back, guys.
Or will we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Or will we?
Yeah. Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a second to welcome any newcomers to the Balcony Time podcast and thank those of you that have already been listening to us for a while. I also wanted to take a moment of your time to remind you that we stream the podcast live every Sunday night around 8 Pacific on twitch.tv/videogametango. You can also find the video on demand there or the Balcony Time podcast YouTube channel. You can also, of course, always find the audio-only version anywhere you listen to podcasts. Again, thank all of you new and longtime listeners for the support, feedback, and all the fun we've had. Now let's get back to the Balcony Time podcast. So now that the Mando is over and we're not watching the Mando anymore, have you guys been watching anything?
Up Chuck football.
I've been watching.
Up Chuck football?
I've just been watching a lot of like condensed football. I've been binging on the NFL season through
Yeah.
their condensed highlight.
Is it just
games.
FOTBAL?
Football?
They don't have time for the
Football.
extra letters.
If anybody does, like, if you want to watch football but you hate watching on TV, YouTube clips that down to like
10 minutes ago.
10, 15 minutes, and it's fantastic.
Which is awesome. That might get me into watching football.
It helps a lot because, like I said, you don't have to go somewhere, you don't have to pay for some service, and you cuts out all the bullshit.
Yeah.
You know,
I mostly watch esports now. If I'm going to watch like anything parallel to sports,
What have you been watching esports wise?
Smite.
Yeah.
It's just because I know Smite, and it's hilarious. The game's not in a great space,
Yeah.
but like
are you specifically watching tournaments, or is it just people
Some.
playing the game?
some?
Okay.
There's them, and then there's two YouTubers I watched, Mast and Double J, and like we were talking about earlier, talking about how in like any sport, real or electronic, when you get into the top leagues, you have very specific stuck to kind of plays. You don't do anything
meta,
risky because your players are good enough that it's like playing poker really well. If you know the odds, you know how it all works. You just play the numbers slowly and get more money. But I think I said before, this Double J guy, he's good enough that he can play quote unquote spicy builds just for fun and still do well.
Meme builds.
And he was doing threes, and there's a status in the game called Banish where a character is essentially removed from play for a short period of time. And he built this team combo where one guy's Bacchus, the god of wine, and he belly bumps an opponent way up in the air, banishing them before they crash back down. And the second one is one of the Chinese Pantheon ones, this anime dude that goes into like an anime cutty slashy scene, banishing him. And the third one is Heimdall, who they just released, who his ultimate is just a fucking yeet, where he hits you into space and you fly through like Niflheim, all the planes crashing through rocks and whatnot till you come back down. And they managed to banish with their ults this one guy all three in a row. And the guy was just gone for like 40 seconds, and he just came back and immediately died. It was hilarious watching it.
I've actually never seen Smite even played.
Yeah, if the game didn't suck, it would be fantastic.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's I love, like, I got a taste of it from Warcraft, this ability to have fun PvP, but in Smite, all of your abilities have to be aimed, and there's a bit of a three-dimensional quality to it at times. And you combine that with the fact that I like MOBAs, and especially with something like Smite, where your itemization, your actual picking of your items throughout the match is so important that it can really decide a game factor. I was able to get decent at it just by learning basic, like just actual math and numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I can see their team comp, what they're building, and counter build and do really well, even if I wasn't the greatest at accuracy. Obviously, you still need to hit your opponents, but
so you take out the actual having to hit your opponents, and you've described auto chess mobile,
pretty much, yeah.
Which I really enjoyed. Same premise, like knowing what the meta is, knowing how you need to adjust your team composition.
Can you see all of your opponents' builds at any time?
Yeah, you can see everything your opponents are doing, even their bench and whatnot of what they have lined up. And that's who I watch typically when I'm watching streams on YouTube and whatnot. I guess they're previously recorded streams.
Right. You're watching the VODs.
Yeah, nothing competitive necessarily because there's not very many tournaments for that game, but
yeah.
That one, and I still watch Hearthstone. I'll still watch people play Hearthstone. One, because I like Firebat, who casts Hearthstone, and it helps me just kind of see what the game's doing, because I've stopped playing it because too much money.
I've watched a lot. I still watch a lot of WoW streams, but I haven't been playing WoW, so I get it.
Yeah,
especially if you just are into a streamer. I'll watch some streamers play pretty much anything.
Well, yeah, the streamer definitely helps, and then if it's a game that you might come back to later, it's good to keep up on what the game is doing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
because I'll play WoW again. Shadowlands is later this year probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll come back to it. I don't care to know the meta. I've played it long enough that I can get back into the meta within minutes probably of logging back on.
Plus, yeah, I mean that's something you could brush up on when you're jumping back in.
Yeah, 100%.
It changes for most games pretty frequently.
Yeah.
One thing that I did learn over the last couple of years, having stopped playing Smite and watching it more, is I think I realized part of the reason why people enjoy watching sports so much is they know by muscle memory the inside baseball, right? I know how Smite works, so that when things are happening on screen and you've got a 5v5 going on, I know what's happening, entirely. I can comprehend it. Whereas we recently, last 6 months, we watched some PvP of Warcraft. You showed it to us, and having not been in it in so long, it was just people vomiting numbers and rainbows on the screen. I was like, I can't enjoy this because I can't follow what's going on.
For sure.
So it's just similar when I watch football. It's like I can follow the guy who has the ball sometimes. And so it's like I know who has the ball, and then eventually he gets tackled. But I imagine if you see them lining up for a play, you know what that play means, why that play is being used as opposed to any other play.
Yeah.
And you get much more enjoyment out of it.
That's why I watch World of Warcraft PvP.
Just because, you can grok it.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, some of the stuff needs to be better broadcast as far as abilities go. I think that would get more people into the game. The shoutcasters are always really good they'll show you like, or they'll explain to you what they're expecting as far as like the next move and stuff like that. But if you don't know the meta, it's hard to follow for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that can be said about most games as long as it's not something like a standard shooter or something like that.
What's interesting is it really depends on the game, because, you know, if you look at like Overwatch's busy box, if you want to call it that, it's not as like messy as Warcraft is. You know, you can have experience with shooters, but not having played Overwatch, still watch Overwatch clips and kind of have a pretty good idea of what's happening. But, you know, you watch stuff like WoW and it's all ground effects and numbers popping up everywhere. I think we're going to see more and more games designed visually from the aspect of like how
being spectator-friendly.
spectator friendly, you know.
Oh, I mean, we already are. I mean, we essentially have esports titles that come out now.
Yeah, they have like, you know, built-in spectator cameras and easy ways to cast it. But I'm thinking like the idea of Overwatch, they specifically made sure that the characters' silhouettes were identifiable enough and unique enough that they wouldn't be mistaken for other characters. Yeah. That's a like bottom-up design for a specific purpose, for ease of gameplay, right? I think we might see more and more of that for games specifically built for esports.
I think Overwatch is a good example of a game built with the intention of being an esports game for sure. Mm-hmm. But what have you been watching?
Mostly Twitch streams. But last night, because my sleep schedule's been all fucked up, I ended up watching. There's 3 episodes, and I think it's like a mini doc. I think it's done with the 3. It makes sense where it wrapped up. But it's called "Don't Fuck with Cats."
Okay.
It's about a story about a guy that uploaded a video to LiveLeak where he shoved a couple cats into like a vacuum seal bag and pulled the air out of it. Okay. And yeah, what that spawned was like a really large Facebook group trying to track this guy down, find out who he is, serve some civilian justice type thing, or get the authorities involved, whichever happened first. And essentially the first episode is them trying to track this guy down because of what he's done. By the end of the first episode, he's put more videos up of like animal torture, and they're really trying to catch this guy. It's interesting because they say, well, you know, this is obviously, you know, sociopathic behavior. These are the signs of a serial killer, right? Animal torture specifically, and especially trying to get like an audience or be infamous, I guess.
Yeah.
Pretty common in serial killers. Well, it turns out that later on he does kill somebody, and he, you know, broadcasts it or puts it up, you know, for consumption. And yeah, it turns into like, you know, these vigilante Facebook heroes working with police and sharing information. And it's essentially a story about dissemination of information between old school and new school, like, you know, tracking down a cyber criminal versus tracking down
an original physical
right. And it's pretty fascinating. It's really fucking dark, kind of hard to watch. Because they show some stuff that you never want to see, right? I mean, they don't show everything, but they show enough that it's really dark. But it was fascinating because not only was he a serial killer, but he had been kind of working for years on being able to plant the seeds and get this thing underway. He knew that he was going to get tracked down by the internet police, and eventually the real police were going to be involved. And you know, it's a lot of just showing what the power of the internet is, and you know the darkness that can also occur on the internet. That's really the crux of the story. But it's fascinating because he starts to understand that he's being tailed, and he can find out that he's being tailed because he's been in this Facebook group, you know, behind the scenes the whole time. So he knows exactly where they're at in finding him. So he used that to his advantage and moves and leaves the countries and spends a lot of time in other countries and stuff like that. And it turns into a real manhunt because this guy was like fascinated with movies like Catch Me If You Can. Really wanted to like do that. Right. Manhunt. Yeah. But it's crazy because he also left clues in like all the videos. Like, this is where you'll be able to find me.
It's like a docuseries?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, shit, okay. I thought this was fictional.
No. This is a
docuseries.
No, this guy is now in, you know, spoiler alert.
They
caught him.
Yeah, they caught him, and he's in prison for life. But yeah, it's while it's really dark, it's also really fascinating. It was really hard to put down last night when I was watching it.
Yeah, no, I like those like docuseries
Yeah.
shows that, especially when they're tilted towards that that exposure on the justice system, whatever
Yeah.
form that takes.
Mhm.
You know?
If it didn't hurt the cat and he didn't put its head in, I would be
a
amused
really
to
tight
vacuum
sleeping
seal a
bag.
cat.
Just like a cat, just like
In a tight sleeping bag.
But I know they would like they're not going to know what's going on,
Yeah.
so it's fucked up because it's psychological trauma,
Right.
So and you could probably hurt them physically if you're not careful. But the image in my head of vacuum sealing everything but the head of a cat is an amusing one.
it is. I mean, yeah, sure.
I tell you
dark
this
humor.
just based off like past events. If you ever need to find someone, just have 4chan find them.
Yeah,
I
that
had
was-
to relook it up just now.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember it, but there was some Trump or anti-Trump rally going on, and they had caused some legal problems, and they put up a 24/7 live stream of a flag supporting their cause. And I can't remember if it was Trump or anti-Trump, but he was just pointing at the sky and this flag. And 4chan was looking at plane contrails, cloud patterns, weathered patterns, and
Yep.
the star field behind it, and they found out where it was.
So
but based off that information.
that's one of the things you have to remember that this whole thing takes place in 2010 and 2011. So it was
Okay, so
earlier
a little
internet.
while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, I was like, as I'm watching the videos that they're showing of this guy being, like torturing animals, I'm looking at it and I'm like, based on what I see just in this room, I bet you I could find some shit out. Yeah. So I was already kind of calculating how I could find this guy. And they just end up doing
Get to
exactly
play
what I'm
along.
thinking.
Yeah.
Right. And some of it's theatrics, right? So I imagine, I would hope that some of these people were smarter than they appear in the movie
Yeah.
or in the series, because like they went through a lot of effort that they probably just didn't have to.
Yeah. You can start like the ability to narrow things down. You can't get down to like city level quickly, but good example. I don't remember where I heard this, but Best Foods mayonnaise. We have that brand Best Foods, right? On the east side of the Rockies, it's called Hellman's. So you could literally cut it from one side, like the entirety of the United States, just down to half the U.S.
Don't want people to know where we're at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Get out of here, Chan.
What do we have on us? I mean, we all have beards, so
Because I haven't closed the curtain, but there's glare from the
yeah.
studio light.
don't you know that this is made in the county we live in?
There's a lot of clues
Maybe.
in this picture where we're at. There's a globe.
There
There's
are.
literally a globe.
There's also the fact that in previous podcasts we've just said where we are.
Where we are is on that globe.
Yep. It's in frame, just barely.
I would poke us and destroy the apartment, but I can't reach us from here.
That's
Thank
how the
God.
fire started in Australia.
Yeah, I can see
Stop
Australia.
poking the globe.
I'm going to put Australia out real quick. There we go.
Just smush it down.
So, at what percentage of a continent needs to be on fire before something's done about it? Like,
we're really starting to push limits on it lately.
yeah, I thought like the Oregon and California fires were bad.
Well, the
What's
funny thing
the
is,
ratio to those? Like, has there been comparisons?
Yes,
to what?
there have. And
Australia's fires, like it compares the last couple fires we've had here in the States. It's like way out of.
It's
Yeah.
like
proportion.
5 to 6 times larger.
There's a
okay, at
map of
least.
like affected areas, and it's pretty much everything that's dark on this. The entire coastline, like dozens of miles in, is just all fucked up.
yeah,
Around the entire continent? Like
Yeah,
all
the
coastline?
fires, like it's quote unquote affected like the entirety of the coastline of Australia. There's a couple maps I've seen, and I assume they mean affected by like that's actually been on fire.
See, it's weird because like obviously it's getting a lot of news, but living here in Oregon, where during our fire season, that's all I ever hear about, anyways, is the California Oregon fires.
yeah.
So I was reading the Australian stuff under the same auspices, like, well, it's their summer. They're
Right.
going through what we're going through. Like,
So I did see a direct chart comparison to some of the major fires in the U.S. recently. Like I said, it was at least 5 times larger.
okay, that's significant for
Yeah.
sure.
I think that's the sorry, it's the current map of all known located fires. It's
Oh yeah, it's pretty much all of it.
And
Yeah.
furthermore too, like that's all the area where people live on Australia
yeah,
too.
it's on all the coasts and
Exactly.
whatnot.
So like these fires are right in people's backyards.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, because
As
that's
opposed
where
to being off in the forest or something like up here a lot of the time.
Sure.
Another thing to consider is like Australia is like the size of Western Europe. So it's a lot of land that's on
Yeah, huge
fire.
landmass that's on fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, sorry to the Australians for me underestimating what was actually going on
Like,
over there.
Yeah,
It's-
those pictures and videos coming out of there are nuts.
I've
They're
definitely
crazy.
seen those. There's some crazy stuff going on there, but I think like once again you can see similar stuff during our fire season.
Yeah.
You know, as the Rogue Valley where we live and stuff, it gets to where we've had multiple years you can't see 20 feet because of the fucking smoke in the valley is so bad. But thankfully, we don't usually have to deal with, you know, all of our property being destroyed because it's far enough away from us.
Right.
I saw the hilarious and just fantastic, cool thing. Props to her. There was an Instagram model that helped raise money for firefighting. She said, if you donate $10 to the firefighting and send me proof, I'll send you a nude.
Hell
and
yeah.
she got like, I think over 10 grand
Cool.
worth of donations.
Good for her.
It's like, that's so cool.
Gonna get that guy.
But
Gonna get that
yeah,
fruit fly.
Not that one. I named him.
Yeah, dude, Herbert.
Herbert's gonna die.
Herbert the
Poor
fruit
guy.
fly.
Yeah. No, so the crazy thing is how slowly we reacted to helping Australia when Australia sent their firefighters to us like the last like 3 or 4 fucking years.
That's not surprising at all.
Yeah.
Well, I
No.
mean, Trump thinks the fires are happening because California is just hoarding all the water.
Yeah, they're hoarding all the water. It takes 15 times to flush a toilet. You know, it's all California's fault.
The worst thing I think is isn't their prime minister been dragging his feet as well?
Yeah,
Oh,
big
yeah,
time.
he's
Like,
it's been bad.
asking
Yeah, the
He's
political
under-
climate in Australia is not good for him right now.
Not good at all for him.
From everything I've read about Australia, their political climate's comparably fucked as ours.
Yeah.
So,
It's pretty garbage. Yeah.
For sure.
wow. Well, speaking of local stuff and fires, I guess in Australia, you know where they're trying to build a new aquatic center here?
A
Where at?
water zone?
Yeah, a water zone. Yeah,
Aquatic center.
I don't
like
know what that means.
an 89,559 square foot aquatic center, which is like pools. You know, like it's essentially like public pools.
Oh,
but
like a park
Oh, okay.
or something.
indoors for the most part. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. So, do you know where my mom works?
No.
Okay, so she works at an aquatic center. They have like a large indoor pool and sauna and hot tub and all that, but then outside they have like a wave pool, a couple water slides,
fuck
stuff
yeah.
like that. They also have a gym and stuff like that. It's usually like a huge fitness
Mm-hmm.
center.
That's pretty cool.
So we're looking to build one here.
Think of the Y, but cleaner.
Well, yeah.
Maybe.
You have to assume that it's cleaner.
Yeah,
I don't think it gets much dirtier than the Y.
hotel swimming pool maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. How does the Y burn your eyes with chlorine all the way from like the basketball gym, but it still is that dank and
Because
disgusting?
they put it in the vents.
Because it was built in the 1920s.
Sure.
Yeah.
Still.
It's just been around.
I hate being in public water areas. It's just, it's gross. Like, I think I'd rather stand in a toilet that I just shit in.
That's weird, man. I love fucking water parks.
Yeah, it
just
doesn't really
me
bother me
too.
that much.
The amount of, like, MRSA and chlorine resistant things we got going on now, it's like that's where zombies are going to come
Sure.
from. A zombie plague's going to start at a fucking wave pool.
At a YMCA.
Yeah, at a YMCA.
But it's never going to expand out of there because all the zombies are having too fun going down the water slide.
Yep.
Just close it down and be like, sorry, this belongs to the zombies now.
Closed
God.
for zombies.
Trying to find a good water slide that's not zombie infested anymore is impossible.
Yeah. Well, it just reminded me because I knew that a couple of years ago they were toying with the idea of building a water park, which is different than an aquatic center in the fact I think the majority of it is outdoors.
Yeah.
And we discussed that back and forth about whether or not our climate, our summertime climate, would ever warrant having a water park here because
It gets
It
hot
gets
enough.
fucking hot as shit here.
But it's
dude.
for
Yeah.
such a short amount
it's
of
like
time.
a month and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Like if you build a huge water park, but you're busy
Only
a
have a
season
month
for
and
a
a
month and a half,
half.
you can never
Oh,
pay
yeah,
for it.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So it'd be a bad investment for the city to do.
No, I get
Something
it.
like an aquatic center though that can be open year round, not such a bad idea.
Which is interesting because we do have that small water park downtown, and it's used a lot, obviously, during the hot
Yeah.
times. Is what I'm calling summer now. But
Hot
yeah,
times.
Which
I
one?
wonder the one right next to Tinseltown, next to the little tiny skate park.
in Hawthorne.
Yeah, in Hawthorne. There's just that little. You know,
We have I think 3 public pools in Medford. That you can
Yeah,
go to.
this is just like 100-foot radius circle with a bunch of like
Little jets.
little jets for kids.
Oh yeah. We have 3 of those in
Yeah.
Medford
It's
as
like-
well.
Yeah.
I guess the city just pays to keep those up throughout the year.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Well, yeah. Well, so they're typically like most public pools. It's like Memorial Day is when they open, and then they run till like Labor Day or something like that. I actually know a lot of those are because I had to do community service, and those are public parks that we had to clean up. So,
What would be the best thing to add to a city like Medford to keep it from being shitty?
Just more.
just more.
Just more.
More the same? Because that seems like a problem.
I don't
Besides,
know.
obviously, we've had the housing issue.
So
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say is
We
bring the
need-
cost of rent down.
A place for teenagers that are not yet 21 to stay out of trouble. Like, what could you add? Like, when we were in high school, we had to go hang out in parking lots to find places to go, right? What's a thing, like a community center, but it doesn't suck? Like, there's got to be something you can build to be like, hey, 16 to 20-year-olds.
A good arcade.
Yeah, I guess an Instagram mall. It's like just pre-built for selfies, and
Hit your selfie button.
you get special filters if you go there. Only if you go there. I don't know.
As far as I'm concerned, based solely off of YouTube content that's being made, I don't understand what kids that age want, and it definitely what it seems like that they're consuming is garbage.
So a landfill.
would
Yeah.
be-
We need more landfills.
More landfill.
You just got to rebrand it.
Bring the
as
plastic
something
straws
trendy.
back.
Yep. Bring the plastic
It's for the kids.
bags back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And black.
Bring them black.
I have no fucking idea because the shit they watch is just so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch some bad shit too. But
Sure. Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
I don't. I fall asleep when bad shit is on.
Yes,
Yeah,
and-
but you only
and
sleep
good
so
stuff.
long, right? No, you see modern day YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and Click Clack and Car Brothers. I don't know where it's going.
Yes.
But like, how does it? Can it get? I'm knock on wood. Can it get more worse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Idiocracy.
It can always get worse. That's the answer to that question.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad.
But now, I mean, just the content that's trending all the time on YouTube. Like, I guess more of the same could continue. But
The one bonus side is that I'm pretty sure statistically, like, teenagers are having less unprotected sex.
Yeah, because they don't spend any time with one another.
That's fine, as long as the key
Just
is to not have all
unbreed
the stupid
themselves.
people.
That's
breed
leaking into our generation, man. Like, come on.
it's because we can't afford kids.
Yeah,
That's pretty much
that's
what
true.
it is.
Everything's expensive.
We
as
actually,
shit.
true.
Sharon and I looked up because she was trying to make an argument about how our generation, the generation right below us, we're all having less children. And I was like, are you sure that's an actual statistic? And so she looked it up and she's like, okay, here it is. And I was like, what's the reason behind this? Turns out it's because we can't fucking afford it.
Yeah.
It's literally like we're smart enough
Yeah.
to be like, that's going to be really expensive.
Yeah.
I can't even afford a dog, man.
Dude,
Yeah.
I can't imagine, like, every time I go to the store, I also have to buy, like, $30 in fucking diapers.
Yeah.
You're
What?
looking at a lot. Kids are very expensive.
Yeah.
Expensive.
I don't even enjoy when I have to spend $5 on new toilet paper.
Right.
Sorry, kid. Here's 3 shells.
get your shells on.
Get to scooping.
Not only do you have to buy the toilet paper, but you have to teach a new human how to use it properly.
Right.
Done.
Ain't
I'm
nobody
out.
got time for that.
You got to buy a bag of training toilet paper that you're going to go through in one day.
Yeah. While you continually use it until they can develop functional limbs.
I've got one unrecommended kid from chat, so my sample size so far is 100% no to
Yep.
children.
100%.
If you have a kid, enjoy it.
Yeah, kids are great. I
Kids
love
are
them.
Yeah.
If I could
love
afford
kids.
them, I'd have them. But
Sure.
Yeah. Too expensive.
I
I
don't
could
have anybody
afford
to have
them, I
kids with,
wouldn't.
so that's a thing.
Yeah.
Got to find somebody to, mate with.
Any movies we're looking forward to other than Dune?
Dune.
Yes.
Dune comes out
We're
this year.
looking forward to Dune. I saw some good reviews of Parasite. It's a Korean kind of drama thriller
Cool.
that I want to see. The general idea is there's this rich family and a poor family. Like the dad becomes the chauffeur, or the driver for one of them, and then he got his daughter to work as a tutor for the kid, and then the son became another like job for him. And the last person in the family, their mom, they're trying to get in as the housekeeper so they can all work for this rich family. But the original housekeeper that's been there has been there forever, and they have to like think of a clever plan to get her out. And it looks like it's a really well shot film,
Huh.
and it's
that
really
out.
well done. So
And you have not seen it yet?
I've not seen it yet.
Okay.
No, I just watched a couple reviews after I watched. I think it's the Nerd Writer did a video on. It has a amazing montage in it. It's like 60 shots in
You
5
want
minutes or something.
You want to watch that Sunday before the podcast next week?
The movie?
Yeah, we'll get a hold of it.
Yeah, if we can figure out how. I think it's some like Sundance bullshit. I have to maybe yo-ho it, but
We'll look into it.
if we can find a way to get it, yeah. I would be down. Next podcast before, I'm also actually going to be getting together with Cameron to try to make some more music. So if you want to bust out the old windpipe,
Maybe.
yeah,
We'll see.
that's an
I
option.
haven't picked that up in a while.
None of us are really that amazing except for Cameron. So you and I could suck together.
All right.
Mutual
I
sucking.
love
I
it
can bring
when
the-
we're sucking together.
I'll sit right here and I'll touch knobs for you.
Touch
Yeah.
knobs.
I'll diddle knobs.
Yeah, I think I can take the legs off my keyboard and bring it over.
Okay.
I think it's got holes to put cables into, get the sound juice out of it.
Sure.
I'm not sure how, but
Probably a MIDI hole.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't have one of those.
You don't have a MIDI hole?
No.
You got a largy hole or a smallie hole?
No, it's somewhere in between.
Yeah.
It's the Goldilocks hole.
The Goldilocks hole. Put it in my gold hole.
Oh, that got weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just plug it into your Goldilocks hole.
I played a little harmonica when I was sitting at this desk the other day just to hear what
Yeah.
it sounded like.
Mm-hmm. Sounds fine.
You're
Sounds
like,
fun.
oh, yeah. That's what that sounds
Yep.
like.
Yep.
That was fun.
No, that'd be fun. I want to do more music instead of just watching people make it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've heard that music makes the people come together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
It makes them come together right now
Over me?
or under.
Okay.
Depends on how good you are.
Right. Depends how many knobs you can twist.
I got knobs on knobs.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, hey.
I think you should
go to
see
the
a
doctor for
No doctor needed.
Meta
Fine.
knobs.
It's fine.
Tonight on Andy's Meta Knobs.
You know what they should make? Like, legitimately, you got these knobs that go from 0 to 10, right? Make a smaller knob that sticks out of the first one, that its full range is just a value of 1 of the one before it. That way you could fine-tune it, as opposed to having 2 separate knobs.
I
Sure.
feel like that probably exists.
But I have
There's
these
probably
knobs.
a really good reason not to do that. Otherwise, they
Probably.
would have done it already.
I have these knobs. I have this doohickey, and then I got all of this. So
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, but imagine if you just
Got
had
all
one
of
really tall knob.
one real big knob.
And you could just twist it along its length. Just massage up and down the shaft of knobs.
Like
Yeah.
a theremin.
It's very.
It would just be
Got a
like,
lot of
it'd be
twist.
like a gear ratio, right? You know?
Sure.
You just have a gear
You
reduction.
gotta stroke the knob. You know, it's like you said, it's like a theremin, right? So
Yeah.
you gotta get the.
Yeah.
Good old knob stroke.
Weirdly enough, I have been watching a lot of people making loops and stuff like that with all their little
Oh, yeah.
Little
drum
drum pads.
Which
stuff
those
like
are,
that.
those are so cool.
God, those people are so good at that shit.
Yeah, that's
like,
so
they're literally
cool.
busting out like drum beats and stuff. I'm like, how do you remember what is going on?
Yeah.
They're just squares.
I think we'd be better at it than you realize. Just like
Yeah, I think
our
so.
muscle memory with our video game controllers, it's not that much
That's
different.
pretty cool stuff.
You
Yeah, it's
figure
way
we've got
cool.
like 12 to 16 buttons on a controller.
Mhm.
You use them unconsciously.
I don't know. You get into too many complicated Simon Says actions in some video games, and so I'll start failing.
Yeah.
that's
Mass
true.
Effect.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I didn't fail at Mass Effect. That was a joke. Unlock this box. X, Y, B.
Put the gel on the elevator or whatever it
The
was.
Jelevator.
The elevator.
Yeah.
What
What
man,
else?
that should be a YouTube video. You know all those people that do dumb shit with all their money? They should like make an elevator full of Jello and just see.
Sure.
So when it
We were-
opens, it just deluges on.
It's like a gelatinous cube from D&D, right?
Oh, so they
like,
go to walk into it.
Slurp.
You have to make clear Jello. Yeah.
Well, it is. All Jello's clear until you color
Dude.
it, right?
Yeah.
You gotta
Speaking-
add color.
Gelatin.
This
Clear
was
Jell-O.
speaking of elevators. This was a clear fire hazard, but we were surrounded by water, so who cares? I was on a cruise as a teenager 1 year. The only cruise I ever went on to. Highly recommend it. They're a blast. And on the last night of this cruise, the other teenagers on the ship that I had met up with and was hanging out with, we were like kind of drunk, and we like smoked our first cigars and shit, and so we were all like buzzed and lightheaded, and we decided it'd be fun in the middle of the night to take all the chairs that we could find and put them in all the elevators. That way, when everybody woke up in the morning to use the elevators, they'd just be jam full of chairs.
Be moderately inconvenienced.
So we did that.
Was there enough space for one person to sit?
There was no space in any elevator. They were filled to the brim with chairs.
I feel
that's
like
pretty
this is
interesting.
an anti-go on cruise statement.
Yeah.
The fact that a loose pack of teenagers were able to fill all the elevators with chairs
So-
and no one stopped
Let me
you.
rephrase that.
If
If you're a teenager,
and
cruises
you're in the
are awesome.
time of your life, yeah,
Convince
you are
your
in the
parents.
heydays.
We killed 300 people because we blocked all the fire exits. It was fantastic.
I read a really good story at work researching terms about a woman, I think in the 1920s, who snuck onto a cruise.
Women didn't exist back then.
That's the crazy thing about the story, right?
Oh,
There were women.
There were actually
You're
women.
there already, but
Yeah. But yeah, she had to. She essentially had to figure out how to stay on this cruise this whole time without getting caught, because especially being a woman back then, it was a problem. So she had to pretend and essentially become like the local drunk and just hung out in the bar for the majority of the time, and they would tell people, you know, oh yeah, I'll go back to my cabin in a bit, and then just like find a place in the ship to hide and sleep. But like she constantly had to like keep men from trying to have them bring her back to her cabin. It was a pretty interesting story. She almost didn't make it, but she ended up sneaking out of there at the end. It was pretty interesting. The idea of a woman back then being able to survive, like I think it was like a month without getting caught by security, because you know she'd get thrown the brig essentially for not having a ticket. But yeah, it was pretty fascinating.
just watched a YouTube videos who were
Same.
watched
Sticky buddy.
fucking sticky buddy. Watched a video of two guys staying in an airport for like 5 days or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Same premise, trying not to get thrown out.
didn't Tom Hanks get lost in an airport once?
So it's called Terminal.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic movie.
No, it
Fun
was a good
fact, that airport no longer serves commercial flights.
Oh.
They closed it down. It's just a cargo airport now. It's supposed to be this huge grand project for Canada, like Air Montreal or something like that, and they fucked it all up.
Wow.
I thought he was making a joke about Castaway. I was like, no, that's an island.
Terminal was a good movie. I
Yeah,
like
it was fun.
Terminal.
Can't take your ball on the plane, sir.
Your wife will have to stay here with us.
Music and video games. I mean, I got down rabbit holes listening to like remixes and orchestral things of music. Just fucking Koji Kondo. God bless that man. I love him. All the Final Fantasy music and whatnot. But yeah, what is it about music and games that makes it so like
Memorable?
they don't play. I mean, I guess there's music in like sports. Yeah, then take me out of the ball game and like the ESPN sting, right? But how epic would that be if there were like sweeping orchestral theme tracks to sports games, right? I don't know. It seems like a
That
very
would be
video
great.
game thing to have music. I mean, you have them in movies, I guess, which is similar, but
Have NFL games with a live orchestra on the sideline.
that'd be great.
That would be kind of cool, actually.
You could totally throw them off and just start playing like polka, right? They kind of do that in high school marching bands.
Yeah.
You would play like weird songs when the opposing team was doing stuff, and
I
then,
just remember, da-da-da, hey.
yeah,
Da-da-da-da.
They did
because
that a
everybody
lot.
knew that one. Yeah, Tequila was another one.
Yeah.
You play a lot. Tequila. Dun,
Hey,
da, 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 da.
hey, baby.
We will rock you.
Yeah.
Oh,
None
yeah.
of you guys were in band, right?
Not
I was in
anymore.
orchestra for a little while.
I played trumpet for a year.
Yeah. You played the viola.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
Five
If
years.
Andy were to play an instrument, you would play trombone.
It'd be the recorder.
Yeah.
It'd be that electric like thing where you breathe into, but it's also got a keyboard on it.
Melodica.
Ooh, yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
those things are awesome.
That's what you'd play.
Fuck yeah.
Only if he could Jimmy rig it into like a vape.
And only play like friggin' hair metal music.
Fine with me.
Yeah.
Done.
I
Sign
don't
'em up.
like hair metal, but
I
sure.
have a melodica in the fucking garage somewhere. I could find it for
Do
you.
you really?
Yeah, I think it's my dad's brothers, my uncles.
Also,
Oh,
not
so
surprised
a
that
bunch of
that's-
old spit.
Probably.
Old
Cool.
spit's the best spit.
Yeah, it's the only spit
Would
that
you
I
rather
like.
have old spit or new spit? I mean, like if I handed you something, it was dripping. I'm like, play this.
Mm,
It's maybe a hard choice, but I don't think so. If someone handed me a wet
I just don't like
instrument
spit.
and told me to blow on it,
The only time that old spit is worse than new spit is if you've somehow kept the old spit moist.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about here is like
Like a
a
jar.
3-year-old spit.
Yeah.
Water balloon of
God.
decade-old mouth drool.
Dude,
Oh.
you guys want to start collecting drool so we can
No.
Yeah.
Put it in a
The
water
worst
balloon?
water balloon fight ever.
No,
want
just
to
throw it
have
at Colin
viewers.
once. Throw one at
Dude.
Colin.
He would erupt
That would
into
be
flames.
so
He'd die.
gross.
He'd die.
I'm pretty sure that is like
That would be really gross.
anti-holy
Yeah.
water for.
We should do that.
Yeah.
Anti-holy water.
All right, everybody start drooling now.
I'm
We
pretty
don't have
good
the water
at spitting.
balloons.
I can generate a lot of liquid.
Yeah.
Put that down on my tombstone.
Hell yeah, dude.
This
Generate
gentleman
a lot of liquid.
made a lot of liquid. He was a moist boy.
Dude, sometimes you're a moist boy. It's a thing that happens. On that note, do we have anything else we want to talk about before we end this?
I feel like I contributed nearly all of the topics to this evening.
Many topics.
I contributed half
You
of them.
did not. You stole them from me.
Just remember, don't fuck with cats
Don't fuck with cats.
Yep.
I would not fuck with
Or
cats.
flags.
or flags.
4chan will find you.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Educate your mind. Don't let the brain cells die. Come on, it's balcony time.